All right, we move this pawn forward, and now we quickly place the knight here. Let's see if they take it. There it is. We've won the game. We just give this check, and now we win the queen for free. How's it going, friends? Today, I'm going to show you several opening traps. Not just one, but a few for when your opponent plays the queen's pawn. Probably. Many of you are used to knowing how to play against the king's pawn, since it's the most popular opening. However, you get a bit lost with the black pieces when your opponent plays d4. So let's start with this trap that's going to fascinate you. These traps work especially well in fast games. You already saw it at the beginning, where in the very first move, we give away a pawn. This trap works great for all those who are greedy and like to take everything we offer. Here, for example, we give away a pawn and they take it. And then all we have to do is push this pawn to e6. Why? Because that way we directly attack white's pawn with the bishop. In other words, we open up the diagonal to attack their pawn. Obviously, they won't want to lose it, so they're going to try to defend it no matter what. However, here we already have a move available that can practically win the game. And that move is a 5, a brutal move that threatens to first take this pawn in the back, and once we capture it, to also take the pawn in front and start winning a lot of material. That's why they're going to try to defend it. However, they don't realize that whether they defend it with this pawn or with this one, they've already lost the game. If they defend it with the A pawn, all we have to do is exchange pawns, and then we'll win the rook. You see it because it's completely undefended. However, a lot of people will notice this and won't push this pawn here, but instead will try to advance the C pawn so that these kinds of exchanges don't happen. Still, we're going to exchange anyway. As you can see, this trap is really simple, and now all we have to do is develop our queen to the f6 square. It looks like a harmless move, but it's actually winning the rook right away too, since there's no piece that can get in the way. Whether they try to block with the queen, the bishop, or the knight, we're going to capture it and then take the rook afterwards. Check, and then I take the rook. This trap really is dangerous and very powerful, and the best part is people don't know about it. We'll simply play the double queen's pawn. It looks like we're copying them, doesn't it? Oh, by the way, before I continue, otherwise I'll forget and leave it for the end of the video, you should know that right now, if you really want to improve, not just learn traps like in this video, you should join the Chess Teacher Academy because we have an amazing offer. You can join every week, 7 days, all inclusive for just €1 or $1, depending on where you're watching me from. So it's a golden opportunity to really improve your chess level. You already know everything that's included, right? Video lessons from FIDE Masters, my own video lessons, everything on Chess Main included, with more than 60 courses on openings, middle game, end games, tactics, you know it, everything included. 7 days for €1. So I recommend you check it out down below in the description. I'll remind you again at the end of the video. Now, let's get into this trap, which is really interesting. When they play the queen's gambit against us, which is actually the most common thing, when they play the queen's pawn, all we have to do is go for the Baltic variation. If you don't know it, no worries, I'll explain it to you. Develop the bishop to f5. That's all there is to it. Why? Because now we're going to stick to our setup. The most common move here is knight to c3, and our setup is to play e6. All right? You need to memorize the setup. It's that simple. However, a lot of people here are going to think, especially those playing white, right? Here, I have a golden opportunity to win material. And what is this opportunity? We're going to see it now. If here, they don't fall for this trap and just keep playing normally, right? For example, e3, knight to f3. The good thing about these openings is that all we have to do is keep playing normally, develop our pieces, c6, whatever we want, and we won't end up worse off. That's why I really like these traps. If they fall for it, great, and if not, well, we just keep playing the game. But the idea white has here is to capture this pawn. Why? Because taking advantage of the fact that we've developed this bishop, and this bishop no longer defends this very important square here, now they can play queen to b3. Look at how strong this move is. Apparently, they're attacking the d5 pawn with 2 pieces, with the knight and with the queen. But it's not just that, they're also attacking the b7 pawn. It's a double attack. Is there any way, chess teacher, to defend both points at the same time? Well, no, there isn't a way. So then what now? Wow, chess teachers, the trap you're showing me is pretty bad. Actually, no, it's really them who are falling into our trap. What we need to do is just keep going as if nothing's wrong, developing our knight. That way, we force our opponent to stick with their plan, because if they decide, for example, to just keep playing normally, our threat is very serious. We keep going with this knight jump, and now the move knight to c2 is unstoppable. Check, and I'm going to take the rook, protected by the bishop. This move is completely unstoppable. The bishop can't come in either, because we've got everything well defended. That's why here, after this knight to c6, playing passively doesn't work for them. They have to stick to their plan. They have to come and capture this pawn here. Not only do they capture a pawn, but they also attack our knight. Do you see? They would give us check. If we blocked with the queen, they take our rook. It seems dangerous, but we've got everything under control. We'll continue with knight takes pawn. At this point, the pressure is back at its peak. Once again, we attack with knight to c2, check, and then we take the rook. So once again, they have to respond. And how do they have to do it? Well, by putting pressure on us before we get there. If they don't do anything, we're going to win the rook. So they can keep up the pressure with knight takes pawn. And now, it's true that we're threatening this check, but they're also threatening us with it. Knight takes d7, check, and they take our rook. As you can see, this is turning into a race to see who gets there first. However, the good thing for us, and the bad thing for them, is that we've got it under control. We've studied this, and all we have to do is play rook to b8, attacking the queen. A move that seems very calm, but is actually extremely powerful, because it leaves white with no way to continue. If they move the queen away, we simply check and win the rook, so they have to be super aggressive. They still have one resource left. Careful, we're attacking the queen, we're attacking the knight with our queen if theirs moves away, and we're threatening this double attack. However, they have the only move that seems to save them, which is the counterattack by checking us with the knight, right? Now, we couldn't capture the knight because we'd lose the queen, but all we have to do is move the king away. Yeah, it seems strange, doesn't it? It seems really odd, but we've got it under control. Double attack on the knight, king, and queen. The good thing about these traps is that, yes, it does seem a bit complicated, but since we've studied it, we can make the moves quickly without wasting time. It's going to be our opponent who will have to stop and think about what to do. Since we're threatening the knight with 2 pieces, what they have to do is act immediately here. For example, they can't make a discovered attack on us because they'd lose the queen. I've actually run into this myself. For instance, they try to give me a discovered check, but I just take the queen. So, what they have to do is try to move the queen to give us check. The good thing is that I'm showing you what to do if your opponent tries to go for the only chance they've got, right? Either way, we'll know how to respond. After this check, what we're going to do is capture the knight. Absolutely nothing happens. We're attacking the queen. Trading queens probably isn't going to be good for him, because after the capture, not only will we be up a piece, but we'll also give this check and take the rook. That's why they have to try to do something else. For example, bringing in the bishop to give check. Does this worry us? Not at all. We're simply going to move the king. It seems strange, right? Yeah, but we've got everything under control. Can they do anything? Not much, right? Because we're threatening the queen. If they take our rook, we take their queen. If they trade queens with us, we threaten this knight jump here again, and we're up a piece. So here, the white pieces have only one option, which is, for example, to try to escape with the queen so they don't lose it. However, all we have to do is give this check, and as you can see, the king can't move because our queen is covering the file. So we force them to give up their queen, and in this position, even if they capture the rook, I'm showing you this so you see how easy it is to win this game. We'd simply be left with a queen up. So here, you should definitely be able to win. This is the trap that has given me the most wins in online games, so pay close attention because it's extremely easy. We'll start with the e5 pawn, right? We've seen this several times on the channel, haven't we? It's a pretty unknown trap, but for followers of the channel, it won't be so unfamiliar anymore. The idea is that we're giving away the most important pawn in the position because we have a plan. We won't continue with the typical knight to c6 or queen to e7. I'm sure we've seen this several times on the channel, right? We're going to continue with this bishop to c5. I'm telling you, this trap is spectacular. Make sure you remember these moves well. First, we give up the pawn, and now we develop the bishop to c5. That's important. All right, now what? Well, they can do a lot of things. Honestly, we don't care. You'll see why. The most common move is for them to develop the knight to f3, but like I said, it doesn't matter if they play something else, because what we want to do is this little move here, d6, advancing the queen's pawn, offering white the following. Hey, you do have an extra pawn, right? Well, if you want, you can go ahead and take it back here, or rather, you can have it in your hands now, because after the exchange, you'll have captured 2 pawns and I'll have captured 1, so you won't have to worry about defending it anymore, right? So here's a little tip for you. If you've already seen a video about this trap, I've mentioned this before, especially if you're playing online, make it look like you've just blundered your knight. And how do you do that? Well, as soon as you see them capture this pawn, you take your knight and place it in front of your king. In online games, you can already have your knight ready so that when they capture, boom, you put it right in front. And it works really well because they think you've made a mistake. And if they take the knight, they're completely lost. How's that, chess teacher? How can that be? They've just given away a knight and nothing's happening here, and our queen is being threatened. Well, no, because we're going to win that queen completely for free. All we have to do is capture this pawn on f2 with check. As you can see, the king can't escape or keep defending the queen. The only legal move they have is to capture the bishop. And once it's captured, all we have to do is tick, 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 and take the queen. And it was completely free. Don't you have a friend who always plays the London system? Well, and if not, that's okay, because since it's one of the most played openings in history, a lot of people play it now because it's trendy too. So pay attention, because I'm going to show you a super simple trap to win in 4 or 5 moves when they play the London system. It's that simple. The good thing about London system players is that they always play the same way, right? So we already know they're going to put the bishop here first. They're going to try to set up this structure, right? You know which setup I'm talking about, right? The London system one, it's always the same. So we should take advantage of this information to set a trap for them. Let's pretend we have no idea what they're doing and just push this pawn here. If they keep going with their system, they've already lost the game. Or rather, they've already lost this bishop. They're going to be down a piece, and here's the move. Pay attention, it's spectacular, okay? e5. What do you think? Looks like we're not winning anything, right? But actually, this move already wins the bishop. I'll show you, because it's extremely simple. They have several options at first glance, right? For example, the one we're going to cover first, because it's very simple, if they try to escape with the bishop, you can see that we're going to capture it. For instance, here we capture it, here we capture it with the queen, and if they go back, we'll play this advance and force them to capture. Do you see it? So it comes down to just 2 options. Either they capture with the pawn or they capture with the bishop. You see it? There's no other way, because if they leave, we'll advance and force them to capture. If they capture with the pawn, it's as simple as first advancing the knight's pawn and now advancing the rook's pawn. Where is that bishop going to go? That's it, and it's completely lost. See how easy it is? Well, okay, chess teacher, but what if they decide, for example, here, remember, after this e5, to capture with the bishop? Don't worry, this is just as simple. What we're going to do is first push with the bishop's pawn. That's all there is to it. As you can see, this bishop can't go anywhere except back. If it comes here first, bam, bam, then we've got it trapped again. If it goes all the way to the end first, we just switch the order. It's really that simple. First we push this pawn and then we push the other one. And now the bishop has no way out. As you can see, we've gone over a collection of super effective traps against the queen's pawn, which I recommend you watch more than once, because they're incredibly effective. By the way, please take a look at the channel's official academy. Right now, you can get 7 days for just €1. The value is priceless, absolutely priceless. You already know we have classes from a FADE master. It's developed by grandmasters. You get my classes, you get a full paid app included, everything included, with over 60 opening courses, plus more middle game courses. Well, I guess by now, everyone knows about the academy, right? So it's a golden opportunity to get in for those 7 days for just €1. Hey, chess teacher, I tried those 7 days. I didn't like the academy at all. I want to leave. No problem. You can just leave. That's it. If you want, I'll even give you your euro back. My goal isn't to make you join by force. Quite the opposite. We're running this promotion so you can join the academy, see how amazing it is, and then decide for yourself if you want to stay. Of course, let me tell you something else. Out of everyone who has joined, I actually checked the stats today, and it's just 0.2%. That's true. 0.2% of the people who join have canceled their membership. What do you think about that? 0.2. How's that possible? It's unbelievable. That just means the Academy is fantastic, and it's really helping you win more games and, of course, become a better player. You already know. You can find it right below in the description or by going to chessteacher.chessmind.ai. All right? It's that simple. I recommend you give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow in the next one, friends. Goodbye.